You know how it's super easy to make websites nowadays? You just make an account on your platform of choice and you pick one of the templates and it'll probably look fine. And that was me a year ago. I made an account on Squarespace, yes, on Squarespace, and I picked a template and my website looked just fine. And this is no shade to Squarespace because it's not their fault that I have a strange personality. However, I do, and the website did not look like me at all. So this week I set out to fix that. So full disclosure, I made the website primarily because I wanted somewhere to host my podcast. Yes, I have 4 episodes of a podcast out. It was supposed to be weekly. I don't want to talk about it right now, okay? But it's coming back. It's coming back. I love the concept so much. It's about Victorian times, which is a big passion of mine. It's coming back. I just have to figure out a format and a way to make it sustainable. Anyway, that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is that I had this website. I was paying for it, but there was barely anything on it. So this is what it looked like. I'll throw you back to me of a few days ago. I'll try to make it clear when's the past and when's the present, because I do wear the same clothes all the time, so it may be a bit unclear. So just under a month ago, actually in my daily videos, I had talked about this idea I'd had for my website, and at the time in my morning pages, I drew out this little sketch. I had this idea that I didn't want the website to be this kind of sterile, minimalist, optimized for CEO website, but rather for it to be a bit of an experience where people can interact with widgets or play little games or something like that. And I actually later I remembered the website of actor Matthew Gray Gubler, who has this website that is like that. It's kind of, you hover on things and they move and there's lots of animations. And my other inspiration is this website by performance artist Caroline Sharkey. It's a very early days of the internet kind of website with a lot of moving parts, and your cursor turns into a shark and the shark opens its mouth when it hovers over a link. And it's just so wild and so fun. And I thought, oh yes, websites can be like this as well. They don't all have to be the default Squarespace template. Now, I'm very much not the same type of cool as Caroline Sharkey or Matthew Gray Gubler. I am very cool, but in a different way. So, of course, I don't want to make websites that look like those in any way. They were just kind of my inspiration for non-standard websites. So, though my inspirations are quite busy, I think I wrote about this in my morning pages today, and I think I want the website to be a sort of a way for people to get me at a glance, right? Because I feel like when I talk to people, sometimes it can get a little bit confusing because I have a lot of different interests and I do a lot of different things. So sometimes I introduce myself to people and they're like, oh yeah, I get it. She's an administrator. And then like next week I'll be like, oh, but actually I've just had an article published in an academic paper. So they're like, oh, so you want to be an academic? And I'm like, no, not really. No, actually, like I have an audition tomorrow. Oh, so you're an actor. You get it. So my idea was, well, you don't get it. This is an issue. So, I mean, it's not an issue, of course. It's true. I am all of those things at once, of course. So it's all like a misapprehension. But what I'm saying is I kind of want the website to be somewhere where someone lands and they can see at a glance what I'm about. And in order to do that, I think it has to be a little bit less busy than those inspiration websites, because of course the goal of those websites is different from mine. So I would try and condense the things that I do into 3 categories. Performer, maker, I'm not sure about this one, maker, creative, but that feels a bit vague, and technically Victorianist. Maybe has to be vaguer, like historian. I don't know if people would immediately understand what a Victorianist is. Maybe yes, I have no idea. And then I had this idea that for each thing, because basically performer covers a lot of ground. I do stand-up comedy, I do sketch, I do straight up auditioning for like plays and TV series and whatever. I say auditioning for because I don't usually book those things, but I would like to. I do adverts. Performer covers quite a lot of ground. Maker or creative covers a lot of ground. I would say that includes these YouTube videos, but I've also composed a musical, and also I do crafts and whatever. And Victorianist/historian, this is obviously where that dormant podcast goes, but also I have a master's degree. I've had an article published. I'm going to be presenting at a conference in a couple of months. So the idea is that people might be looking me up because they see my name in the program of the conference, for example, right? So that's kind of how I decided to split them. But I thought a way to give more of a glimpse as to the variety of things that those three titles cover is by having, for each one, and I don't know exactly visually how to do that yet, for each one to have like a past, present and future, a past project, current project, next project. Not sure how to phrase it yet. I'm thinking if somehow I can present this at a glance, without having to click on anything on the homepage, then that gives you already a very good overview of the kinds of things that I do. So I guess this is the concept I'm going with right now, but visually, a website designer, I am not. I'm going to jot down stuff that I like to see if it sparks an idea of a possible design. So I started looking for images that may spark something and that I may actually use. There's lots of public domain images out there which are free to use or open access, and especially if, like me, you're kind of trying to do a bit of a vintage look, there's lots of old graphics that you may be able to use. And then after all that, I started trying to edit my Squarespace website, tried to do some animated stuff with rather mixed results. And then I thought, okay, what if I looked at digitized versions of Punch, the 19th century magazine? And then this one had something that looked exactly like what I was envisioning. Past, present and future. There were pictures of the past, the present and the future for various different fields, science, war, travel and so on. And so I went ahead and designed a gorgeous landing page. Here you go, this is the idea. So you have the little performer, Victorianist and maker person in the position where science and war and traveling and so on are in those pictures. And then behind it, past, present and future. And that would link to a past project, a present project and a future project for that area. And here you can see me try and do that on the website. And it's looking awful. Now may be a good moment to share with you that I have aphantasia. I have no mind's eye. So sometimes I think something will look really cool and then it looks terrible. Although I don't think I can use that excuse because I did make a sketch and I think the sketch was just too optimistic. So let's scrap all of that and try something completely different. What if it was like playing cards? Because I love board games. I don't think it was on the list of things I like, but I do like board games. What if the landing page was kind of like a board game board, and then we have 3 slots, and then each one has 2 sub-slots. I don't know why I'm making such terrible rectangles. I'm actually quite good at drawing rectangles. But anyway, and so on day 3, I had the landing page, I had all of these playing cards designed, and I had enough ideas for content to make the website live, even if I was going to keep adding to it. And I hated it. I didn't hate it. It was fine, but it was just so not the vision. So I went all the way back to that initial sketch. I liked the idea of the planets and I liked the idea of having GIFs and moving parts. I'm sorry if that's annoying to everybody else, but that's what I want. And this may lose you, but I have a graphic tablet. I don't have a regular tablet, but I have a graphic tablet to draw on. Why do I have a graphic tablet? I am the kind of person that gets really into hobbies for some periods of time, and some of them become lifelong hobbies and some of them don't. And some of them stay in the background and come back at another time. And the graphic tablet, I was very serious. I was going to do loads of illustration. This was a Christmas present and I love it. It's a wonderful object. but I just don't use it enough. So I got it out and I started drawing. Suddenly everything made sense. It all feels like me if I'm hand drawing everything, right? I can spend hours trying to find stock pictures that feel like me, or I can draw something that will automatically feel like me because I've drawn it. And I can look through every font in existence trying to find something that feels like me, or I can literally just write with my own handwriting and then that feels like me. And would you believe it? Suddenly I was super excited and I had so many ideas, and I started playing with all the silly little settings that Squarespace has to have weird backgrounds that follow your cursor and they look like little particles and And so in a flurry of creativity, even though I technically worked on this website for a few days, really the important bit sort of happens in a couple of hours. I made this new landing page. Look at how the yellow shadow thingy follows your cursor around, and all the little planets with the little animated image on them. And the sections make so much sense and they feel so much like moi. For now, the pages for each section are fairly similar to the landing page, but the idea is that they will eventually all have their own personality and little drawings that I'll add to them. The performance one I'm thinking could be a little marionette theatre or like a paper theatre. The Victorian one, I really want to make it look like a 19th century newspaper. And the creative one, I'm thinking it could look a bit like a desk in some way. I'm not sure how that would work for mobile, but basically I would like that to be the various objects that I use to be creative with. So there's still loads I want to do in terms of design, and I really want to make a custom cursor. And for content, of course, because I've only made a couple of entries for each category at the moment, just so I could make the website live, but I have a lot more that I want to talk about, of course. And the surprise was that I really enjoyed writing the little blog posts, so to speak, the little entries. I haven't written casually for a long time. I don't really use social media, and I kind of have written academically, but I haven't really written like a blog post. It feels very teenage me to write a blog post, so that was really enjoyable. So now I think my website looks super cool, and I'm really fired up to add more stuff to it and make it even more like me. And I hope if you have a website, you'll make it look more like you as well. And maybe you are super clean and minimalist and your website is just like a white page with a tiny little black writing in the middle. And if that's the case, then I hope you do that. If you have a very cool website of your own, please let me know because I'd love to see it. And if you do visit my website, thank you very much and let me know what you think because I am going to be continuing to work on it for quite a while still. So any feedback is very much appreciated. Thank you for watching. I upload on here twice a week, so hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye!